Welcome back to ACB Wrestling Talk, your main source for wrestling news and wrestling discussions. I'm, of course, your host, Alexis Carrillo, and let's get into some wrestling talk. Being that it is Wednesday, we're getting set to watch a little bit of Dynamite tonight, and it's safe to say that All Elite Wrestling is looking to bounce back from the slight ratings loss, the first ever in these Wednesday Night Wars that they had against NXT last week. The thing is, it is Thanksgiving week, which means most people don't watch wrestling entertainment if past ratings have been any kind of proof of that. But that doesn't mean Dynamite doesn't have a entertaining show to put on tonight, being that Y2J himself, Le Champion, AEW World Champion Chris Jericho defends against Scorpio Sky for the AEW World Championship. Now, we talked about this last week. As soon as it was announced, I pretty much threw out the fact that this could be another Triple H versus Y2J from Raw in 2000. Now, the roles will be reversed, with Y2J now playing the role of Triple H and Scorpio Sky now playing the role of Y2J. But the fact is, this might be a test run for in the future. We could see Scorpio Sky maybe challenging, maybe even becoming AEW World Champion. That could be a possibility. We'll just have to wait and see how the fans react to any kind of near fall that Scorpio Sky has over AEW World Champion Chris Jericho. But safe to say, Chris Jericho will remain your AEW World Champion. There's no chance, absolutely no chance in hell, that Chris Jericho is not walking out of Dynamite still your World Champion. And with that leads me into the next segment, which is Chris Jericho's Thanksgiving Thank You celebration. Now, being that Dynamite is live, and even if it wasn't, I'm not a fan of reading spoilers, I do not know if this will open the show or this will close the show after the main event world title match. But still, it is Chris Jericho's Thanksgiving Thank You celebration. It's apparently going to be all about him, as it should, because he is Le Champion. Apparently, he is the most entertaining act in AEW. You know, wrestling aside, for the most part, there are talented, more athletic, younger wrestlers on the roster, but entertainment based purely on entertainment, Chris Jericho takes the pie. So yeah, Thanksgiving Thank You celebration. We can expect another promo class, another promo lesson from Y2J himself. Not only that, but last week we saw MJF and Hangman Adam Page win that battle royal that I've already forgotten the name for. But apparently they're going to do battle tonight on Dynamite for the AEW Diamond Ring, where the winner gets to be the one who proposes to the loser. No, I'm just kidding. Apparently this could be another case of, maybe MJF wins this. I'm predicting MJF beats Hangman Page for the AEW Diamond Ring, and they take the King Corbin route with MJF in this case. Only 100 times better, because MJF is a much more stronger character and superstar than King Corbin ever has been. But MJF with the AEW Diamond Ring, he's gonna have a chance to gloat about it. Hell, I pointed this out last week. MJF might go the route of what Cody did back with the Ring of Honor ring. Maybe. Gloat about that. Gloat about how, about how he betrayed Cody, and now he has a ring that Cody will never get his hands on. That could be a possibility. We also got the rematch between Kenny Omega and Pac. Honestly, gotta go with Pac here. It's last week of November. We're nearing the end of 2019. I'm thinking they might have Kenny Omega with this entire losing streak he's been on for the rest of 2019, and then starting in 2020, it's going to be the comeback of Kenny Omega, and that might be a story fans might get into. But for right now, Pac I believe he's number 2 in the rankings, so he's got to beat Kenny Omega, and he's could be challenging Chris Jericho at AEW's next pay-per-view. You never know. Who's Jon Moxley's next victim? Of course, Jon Moxley took care of Darby Allin last week. Michael Nakazawa 2 weeks ago, I believe that's his last name. If I'm mistaken, I do apologize. But Jon Moxley seems to be on the hunt for opponents. He seems to be looking for a way to get himself to that number 2 position and challenge Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. Will he get there? Probably. How fast he'll get there, I don't know, because like I said, it doesn't seem like AEW is lining up top contenders to face off against Jon Moxley right now, and very few are going to be wanting to challenge Jon Moxley for any kind of match as of this moment, due to his attitude and his antics in that ring. So we'll just have to wait and see tonight on Dynamite what goes down. And finally, it's not all sunshine and roses with AEW. You know, for years and years, fans have been claiming that tons of wrestlers, tons of talent have been, unhappy with how WWE has handled them. They have been unhappy with their position in WWE and how they've asked for their release. Now, this is not a case of a superstar asking for his release. It's just a case of an AEW superstar being unhappy with his position in the company. That's it. He might not be unhappy with the company he works for. He's just not happy with the position he's in. And this is what he tweeted. This is what Joey Janela, AEW superstar Joey Janela, tweeted and then deleted. And I quote, "Didn't get on my flight for Wrestling Dynamite tonight. I'm not going. Nothing was addressed about the way I was eliminated from the match last week, being eliminated during the commercial break by Sean Spears. I'm losing all the steam I created on my own through 14 years of hard work. Right these wrongs and answer the phone." So, yeah, Joey Janela tweeted that response in regards to not being a part of Dynamite tonight. He then deleted it. We don't know if any action has been taken by Janela or by AEW officials, but being that Dynamite is live, maybe Joey Janela makes an appearance tonight. Maybe they address this head on TNT in a way WWE normally doesn't ever do. That could be the answer to Dynamite's ratings battle. I don't know. Let's just wait and see what goes down tonight on Dynamite. Wednesday Night Wars in full throttle, so we also got ourselves NXT tonight. Lio Rush defends his Cruiserweight Championship. I'm still unaware if it's the WWE Cruiserweight title or if it's now the NXT Cruiserweight title, but he defends against Akira Tozawa, the same man he beat last Sunday during the Survivor Series kickoff show. Only this time, it's not going to be for brand supremacy. It's going to be just for the Cruiserweight Championship. Lio Rush all the way. Lio Rush gets the win. If they weren't going to drop it to someone as talented as Angel Garza, and I'm not saying Akira Tozawa isn't talented, I'm just saying Lio Rush is going to have a long, long title reign. And Akira Tozawa is just another stepping stone on his way to eventually dropping the title and possibly going on to bigger and better things. Because we've seen what Lio Rush can do in that ring, and we've seen what Lio Rush can do on the mic. All we have to do and all we have to expect is that Lio Rush behaves himself, backstage and doesn't create so much media fuss for WWE and for himself. We've also got the Undisputed Era defending their NXT Tag Team titles against Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. Now, Undisputed Era has proven to be the most dominant faction in WWE today. So it's really hard to bet against them, especially with what happened at Survivor Series, especially with what happened at War Games, where they just tore the house down, and they've been on such a roll right now. But they do need competition. They do need fresh tag teams. And WWE and NXT as well seems to be very high on both Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. And it would be interesting to see, because if I'm not mistaken, Dijakovic and Keith Lee were sort of embroiled in a rivalry before they became partners for War Games. So now they are still partners. They might become tag team champions. That's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting Keith Lee and Dijakovic for the win. But eventually they will lose the tag team titles. There will be dissension, and they will once again renew that rivalry. That's what I am predicting right now. Might be a long shot. Might actually happen. We don't know. Speaking about War Games, this past Saturday night, I believe Dakota Kai turned heel, and she did it by attacking her former best friend Tegan Nox in that cage at War Games. So the real question is, will Dakota Kai give or explain her actions as to what she did? And it's very simple. I don't think she has to explain her actions. It's very simple and straightforward. They did not take her into account for the War Games team. They have been overlooking her pretty much her entire career. Every time she's challenged any kind of bigger name superstar in the women's division over at NXT, she's falling short. It's pretty clear to me. She is frustrated as hell. She took it out on Tegan Nox, and right now it seems like she just doesn't give a damn. That might just be the case. That just might be what she explains. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But again, we'll have to wait and see what goes down tonight on NXT. Tommaso Ciampa led Team NXT to victory at Survivor Series, the entire brand. But with that, in the past, with that just a few nights ago, is Tommaso Ciampa back in the race? Is he back in the hunt for the NXT title? And should Adam Cole be worried that NXT's daddy is looking for his Goldie? I, for one, think that he should be worried. And I am looking forward to having Tommaso Ciampa, on the hunt back for the title against Adam Cole. They've been teasing this ever since October 2nd, when NXT first went head on with AEW in the ratings war for these Wednesday night wars. But I think it's finally time to pull the trigger, and it might be Adam Cole's time as NXT champion running out. So hopefully no one will survive sounds tonight on NXT during an Adam Cole segment where, of course, the Undisputed Era is going to gloat and just talk about how they are the entire reason why NXT was declared the supreme brand at Survivor Series. That's what I expect from the NXT celebration, at least right now. So that's set for NXT tonight on the USA Network, but that's not it, because Mauro Ranallo reportedly will not be a part of this week's NXT episode. Mauro Ranallo, missed Survivor Series, where he would have had the chance to call a few matches. Being a part of the NXT announce team, he missed that. And Michael Cole has apparently explained it as the fact that Mauro Ranallo was way too excited and way too tired from calling War Games that he just couldn't take a part of Survivor Series, and he just couldn't be a part of tonight's episode of NXT, which again seems far-fetched to me because he is a commentator, he is an announcer, and that's what he does for a living. The real the real issue at hand right here is the fact that Corey Graves, who is, safe to say, very outspoken on Twitter, called Mauro Ranallo out on Twitter during War Games because, and I'm just going to quote this. I'm just go ahead and read what he tweeted out, and I quote, he said, "Just for the record, guys, I know you wouldn't know it, but there's actually a WWE Hall of Famer and a former Ring of Honor champion on commentary. I'd imagine they have a lot to offer." This, Corey Graves tweeted this in response to how Mauro Ranallo kept speaking over his colleagues during the announce table throughout the entirety of the War Games broadcast, being that he was the play-by-play announcer, Beth Phoenix and Nigel McGuinness obviously providing color commentary, but Ranallo stepped over them quite a few times. After this tweet by Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo went ahead and deleted his Twitter account the next day and wasn't a part of Survivor Series. He's not going to be a part of tonight's NXT episode. And Mauro Ranallo has made it public about his mental health issues. This isn't the first case of him being presumably offended by a coworker. We saw it a few years ago when he was the lead SmackDown announcer alongside JBL, who kept calling him out and calling him apparently names and that sort of things during SmackDown broadcasts. Ranallo had to step back. Now it seems like Corey Graves has done the same. So Corey Graves opened up this week's episode of After the Bell, where he issued a public apology for Mauro Ranallo on Twitter. Well, on the actual show, of course. And I quote, "What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Bell. I'm Corey Graves. A ton to get to this week, as we do every week, but before we go any further, on a personal note, I needed to address something. This past Saturday, during the TakeOver War Games event, I sent out a tweet. It was an unpopular opinion, as I often do with the intention of just stirring up a little controversy, maybe have something fun to talk about on TV or here on the show. It was maybe not the most professional way to go about things, and it was never meant to offend or disrespect or disparage anybody. That was never my intention. If it was taken as such, I apologize deeply. That was not my intention. I would never intentionally cause anybody undue stress, especially a coworker. So, I apologize." That's what Corey Graves had to say, but like Graves mentioned during his After the Bell podcast, he is very unspoken. He's gotten to be very much of an antagonist to anyone he feels deserves it, both on TV and away from TV. That's kind of the personality that Corey Graves has developed over the past few months, years. That's been the case, but again, that's just a case of Mauro Ranallo has his mental health issues. He's got his own personality, and Corey Graves has his own personality as well. They don't seem to be gelling as well, and it's obvious that WWE asked Corey Graves to issue a public apology, just like I believe they did with JBL in the past. Just that in the past, JBL, took a step back. He left the commentary position. Doesn't seem like that's going to be happening with Corey Graves, but I do wish Mauro Ranallo recover from this drama that Corey Graves started, because it's certainly uncalled for. We've talked about this, for the past week, how talent and otherwise have been taking most of their issues, most of their problems, and then venting out on social media. This is just another case, and add one to the loss column, because again, this just adds drama to the entire situation. It doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit WWE. It doesn't benefit Corey Graves. It certainly doesn't benefit Mauro Ranallo. So we'll just have to wait and see what goes down. Raw draws near record low audience for post-Survivor Series episode. This past Monday Night Raw's episode drew an average of 2.109 million viewers, which is the second lowest non-holiday viewership for Monday Night Raw in the show's history. Fans, pundits, analysts like to point out how viewership is going down, how viewership has been, on a downswing for the past decade. And yes, it is a case of WWE not being as entertaining as they should be. But it's also a case of all the streaming services that come up. It's also a case of all the sports that have gained notoriety and have gained the upper hand over WWE. It's a case of the changing times. Okay, the days that The Big Bang Theory, one of the biggest TV series today going on, well, not today, it's obviously ended so far, but in the past years, it's been one of the biggest series on TV. They garnered, 15 to 20 million viewers on a weekly basis. You want to compare it to 80s or 90s, where you got viewership of 20, 30, 40 million plus. Times change. You can't contrast and compare these times, 2019 to 2009, to 1999, to 1989. Times change. Factors involved in every single one of these issues change. That's just the case. That's just, you can't just pick and choose what you're going to analyze. You can't just point fingers at viewership being lowered because you feel like it. Raw it has been on the decline in terms of entertainment, but there are better forms of entertainment out there. Sports, TV, movies, reality TV shows, news broadcasts, everything. That's just the facts right now. But that's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, as I'm sure you do, leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comments section below. That's been it for today's episode, November 27, 2019. I've been Alexis Carrillo. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.